We're approaching the end of the book, and there's another scene of supernatural violence that looks like it's God. Revelation 20:7-9, English Standard Version. And when the 1,000 years are ended, Satan will be released from his prison, and he will come out to deceive the nations that are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them for battle. For their number is like the sand of the sea. And they marched, the nations marched up over the broad plain of the earth and surrounded the camp of the saints and the beloved city, but fire came down from heaven and consumed them. Wow. Looks like God finally shows up as violence, and he brings down fire out of heaven and consumes the nations. Did the text there specifically say God brought down fire out of heaven? Doesn't. It's natural to assume it is. Why? Because the fire comes down from heaven, and we therefore assume that it's God. But the text doesn't say who brings the fire down from heaven. Fire only comes down from heaven in the book of Revelation from Satan. There is only one other reference to fire coming down from heaven, and it's from Satan in Revelation 13. And the same key words that are in this passage appear in chapter 13 as well, which nails it down that Satan is bringing down fire from heaven at this point in the storyline. And there's a reason which we will get to. Let's jump over to chapter 13 and look at the parallels, the points of contact with chapter 20 and chapter 13. Who is bringing down the fire from heaven? Satan. In chapter 13 and chapter 20, God didn't do it. And that's the only point I'm trying to explain. Come to chapter 13. Let's have a look at the story leading up to fire coming down from heaven in chapter 13, because it comes from the devil. Let's look at the backstory so we understand the full significance of what this phrase means. 13:11, English Standard Version says this: I saw another beast rising up out of the earth, and it had two horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. This is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It has two horns like a lamb. The word lamb appears over 40 times in the book of Revelation. It only ever refers to Jesus. It's a Christ-like power that will emerge. But it's really the devil speaking. This is a false prophet. This is a dangerous, deceptive power. Claims to be Christ-like, but it's really the devil speaking through this power. Why does this power arise? What's it trying to achieve? Verse 12, next verse. ESV. It, this Christ-like satanic power, it exercises all the authority of the first beast, the one from the sea. It's using its authority to do what? And makes the earth and its inhabitants, that's the nations, worship the first beast. Okay, so this Christ-like satanic power is arising using the authority of the first beast to get the world, the nations, to worship the first beast. And this has a backstory. 13:2, English Standard Version. Notice that the word there is authority. It uses the authority of the first beast to get the world to worship the first beast. Where did the first beast get his authority from? 13:2, English Standard Version. And the dragon gave his power and his throne and his great authority to the beast from the sea. Okay. We've got a delegation and a transfer of authority. Satan gives his authority to the first beast. The first beast then gives his authority that he got from the devil to the second beast, and that's why it's speaking like a dragon. It's speaking on behalf of the devil. What's the devil up to in all of this? Well, we know that the second beast is trying to get the world to worship the first beast, but by doing so, 13:4, English Standard Version, look, they worshipped the dragon, for he had given his authority to the beast. Oh, now we know what's going on. We're getting to the fire coming down from heaven. Satan wants to be worshipped, which is the whole point of this whole series. He wants to take the throne of God, so he put question and blasphemed the name of God to get him off the throne so he could take it. This is what all this is about. And now this is where the fire from heaven comes into it. How's he going to get the world to worship him? He's got to show that he's God. Look, 13:13, English Standard Version. The satanic lamb-like beast, it, to get everyone to worship the beast so that it worships the dragon, it performs great signs. You see a sign. It performs great signs. What's this sign? Even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of the people. How does it get the world to worship the first beast and therefore worship the devil? It does a great big fireball in heaven. Comes down from heaven. This is the story of Elijah. Counterfeited. Fire came down out of heaven in 1 Kings 17 and 18 through Elijah, who had a face-off with the false prophets of Baal. And they said, okay, let's prove who God is really working through. Elijah says, put your sacrifices on the altar, boys. And then Elijah called down fire out of heaven to burn the altar. Here we've got a counterfeit Elijah story. The false prophet, to prove his divine power, which is false. So now Satan brings down fire from heaven through the second Christ-like satanic power to prove that they are God, so they will worship the devil. Remember the key words here. Let me just read them out. I don't want to miss any of these points. Here are the key elements of chapter 13 that lead up to the fire coming down from heaven from Satan. What is he up to? 13:14, ESV. And by the signs it is allowed to work, the fire from heaven, it deceives. Oh, Satan brings down fire from heaven to deceive the nations. This is exactly what we're going to see in chapter 20. The exact same words are used again in chapter 20, and we will get to that. In summary, Satan is speaking through this power. Satan performs deceptive signs. The most important one is bringing down fire from heaven to prove he is divine, with the result that the nations are deceived. Folks, that's what we read back in chapter 20. It's the devil again. More next time.